contrary to what was reported last week, we are going to stand firmly in support of students and the realities they face in 2018. We know they need to learn about consent. We know they need to learn about cyber safety. We know they need to learn about gender identity and appreciation. But we also know that the former Liberal government's consultation process was completely flawed, and that's where we're going to focus in, and we're going to respect parents and allow them a chance to once and for all have their voices heard in a very fulsome, thoughtful, inclusive consultation.
Ontario's Education Minister Lisa Thompson raised a few eyebrows with that answer during question period at Queen's Park today. Last week, the PC government made it clear it would scrap the 2015 sex education curriculum and revert back to the 1998 curriculum this fall. But there was a lot of blowback over using a program that predated social media and would not deal with issues like same-sex marriage and gender identification. But today, the minister said the old curriculum leaves, quote, leaves ample space to discuss current issues. So is this a reversal of the reversal or just a clarification? Time for the Power Panel in Toronto. Brad Levine of Council Public Affairs. Here in studio with me, Susan Smith of Blue Sky Strategy Group, and former Director of Policy to Stephen Harper, Rachel Curran of Harper and Associates. Thanks for joining me, guys. Rachel, I would like to start with you. Rachel, why didn't the Ford government indicate it would include issues like gender and issues like same-sex marriage and sexting, things like that, when it made its original announcement?
Well, I think the promise always was that there would be a new curriculum developed in consultation with parents. There was never any indication that all of these concepts that might be important would be excluded. So I think what happened is people just jumped to conclusions too quickly. So look, I will say I don't really understand this issue. You know, back in my day, things like tolerance and respect and, learning not to be a bully were taught at home and not by the government. But I guess we're in a world now where these things have to be taught at school. So look, I think, yes, the old curriculum will be used while a new curriculum is developed, but I would have every expectation that the new curriculum would include updated and modern concepts.
Brad, I want to ask you, what do you think triggered the Ford government to announce this new sort of, maybe not new, but announce this position today?
Pressure put on by parents and educators across the province who, when Doug Ford basically said, in order for me to win the leadership of the PC party in Ontario, I need the social conservative movement, and this was a trigger for them to support him. He needed then to pay them back because he did not only won the leadership, but then he went on to win a majority government. But parents don't care that Charles McVety helped Doug Ford become leader of the PC party. They care about the health and safety of their children, and the backlash has been palpable. And today, while there are some silver linings in some of those comments, we'll have to wait and see how serious the minister and this government are in bringing in things like that. But the big concern now is how much time it will take to come up with a new curriculum and what damage will be done in the interim. We're working with outdated curriculum. We wouldn't tolerate that on many scales. And when it comes to the health of our young people and our children, I don't think many parents are going to be very pleased with this.
Now, Susan, I want to ask you, do you think that it's a comfortable position for the PC government to be in to say that, the 2015 curriculum was flawed because there wasn't enough parental consultation while reverting back to an old curriculum without any consultation? Is there a mushy ground here?
There's a lot. I think there's a swamp in the middle of that. I think it is a swamp, and they've just created a mass amount of confusion. I feel sorry for the teachers that have to go into the classroom in 6 weeks without knowing what it is they're actually allowed to teach. In 1998, there was no Google. In 1998, there was no iPhone. And we didn't get that till 2007. Sexting, consent, all of these issues, same-sex marriage, these are really important things that you have to teach children from being safe. And yes, parents can teach it at home, but there are things, I think, some baseline information that's really important for kids to have.
But the curriculum that the Ontario government now says is going to go back to was in place in 2014. It did bring on some of those challenges. Is this heading in the direction based at a different direction based on all that backlash?
I think the Conservatives have reversed themselves almost completely based on the backlash, because they had an opportunity when they said they were going to scrap the existing curriculum and go back to the 98 curriculum to clarify these issues, and they didn't clarify these issues. It took all of the noise over the weekend for them to say, well, no, we'll give a little bit here, we'll give a little bit there. And I also think it's important to remember that there were 4,000 parents that fed into the consultation process. Nobody restricted which parents could feed in. The parents that fed in did feed in, and there were 4,000 of them that fed in the first time.
Rachel, you've been shaking your head through this. Tell us why.
I disagree entirely. Look, the promise to develop a new curriculum in consultation with parents was never a promise to just reintroduce the 1998 curriculum. Of course, there was going to be a new and updated curriculum. The difference was it was going to be developed in respectful consultation with a wide spectrum of parents and views, and it was not going to be hastily shoved through like Kathleen Wynn's curriculum, which so many parents, I think, rightly objected to.
No, I think there was 4,000 parents fed in. I don't think every single parent liked what the end result was. That's the nature of a consultation. You just can't go find the 4,000 that like what you want to say.
The level of the objection,
the level of jump in here. Brad, jump in.
Yeah, we also don't give individual parents a veto over what is taught in our public schools. That is, there will be opposition to teaching sex education curriculum in every province of this country, because there's always going to be the Charles McVitie's and the social conservative right that basically helped Doug Ford become leader. They will always object to the health and safety curriculum of our children. But sorry, they don't get a veto over how we keep our children and our young people safe.
No, listen, the objection to this extended far beyond just a few individual parents. There was a large number of parents who fundamentally objected to the content of the curriculum and, you know, the ages at which students were being taught about certain things. And so, given the magnitude of the opposition, I think it's only appropriate that you go back and talk.
That's an invented magnitude. There was a large number of parents who supported it.
It happens all the time. Governments introduce policy initiatives. There's objection from a variety of stakeholders, and if the objection is strong enough, you go back and rethink it.
Susan, you disagree with that point?
I think that a good government listens to its stakeholders. I think you're never going to get people 100% on board, but you have to do what's right, and the governments have to make good decisions and smart decisions going forward. I think the Ford government has mishandled this. From the get-go. If they were going to allow those things, why wouldn't you have avoided a weekend of nasty press? Why wouldn't you have said it right from the outset? I think it's some rookie stumbling and bumbling along the way. I think we're going to see more of it. I'm pleased to see that they're going to allow a little bit of flexibility, but as I said right off the hop, I feel sorry for the teachers and the students in the classroom, because I think there's going to be mass confusion this year.
And Brad, really quickly, last question to you on this issue. You know, Doug Ford ran on a campaign, and he made it no secret that they were going to change the sex ed curriculum. And of course, he did get a lot of support on that when he was in the leadership race. Is Ford breaking a promise to the people who put him in office if he reverts back to a lot of the policies that were in that 2015 sex ed curriculum that seem to got so much attention? Yeah.
Wouldn't it be ironic if we end up in the exact same spot in 8, 12, 18 months from now? But the correct answer, of course, is going to be we're going to have to wait and see whether he broke the promise, because to be honest with you, I'm not sure after one day of a question period with the Minister of Education coming out and listing all the things that she says are going to be included that they didn't like about the old curriculum, whether they actually follow through with that or they're just opening the valve to relieve some of the pressure. We'll have to wait and see.